Cartoon tropes are officially out of control, and you guys did not hold back. In my last video, I called out the ones that seriously need to die already. And the comments section? Yeah, that turned into a full-on group therapy session for cartoon fans. You all went in. Like, I thought I was being harsh, but some of y'all were spitting truths the industry needs to hear. So today, we're flipping the script. These are your picks, the cartoon cliches you exposed as the absolute worst of the worst. And trust me, some of these hurt because they're way too accurate. But before we dive in, kindly subscribe to Animated Memories for more animated content just like this. And if you're new here, I gotta ask, what's your most hated cartoon trope? Drop it below, because at this point, this has officially become a mini-series. You roast, I react, and the cycle continues. This is peak, grade A, writer's room cowardice. You know exactly what they're talking about. The suddenly relevant first love trope. Basically, the main character, let's call her C, finally moves on from her old crush L and finds someone better, B. B's the type who actually listens, supports her dreams, has chemistry that could power a city. But just when things are finally going great, boom, L suddenly catches feelings after 6 seasons of treating C like background noise. Then C drops B like a hot potato and goes running back. It's the worst. I hate it because it's such a slap in the face to both the audience and the new love interest. You spend episodes watching this healthy, fun relationship grow, only for it to get thrown in the trash for some lazy nostalgia. It teaches a bad lesson, that the person who ignored you for years is your true love, and the person who actually cared doesn't matter. It's not romantic, it's regression. It's like emotional fast food. It fills time, but there's no flavor.
Tourist around my own friends.
So let me get this straight. You're single, you dated Mordecai for a while, and you keep trying to hang out with him, even though you don't have to, because it's not like you kept in touch with him after you left.
All those things are fine.
And don't even get me started on how B always ends up acting like some wise therapist. We see this kind of nonsense in Adventure Time. Finn and Flame Princess had this amazing dynamic, real chemistry, growth, everything. But nope, the show couldn't let go of Princess Bubblegum. They had to keep that old tension alive, even when it didn't make sense anymore. Then there's every long-running show that's scared to evolve. The writers stick to their first pairing like it's a contract written in blood. Even when a new love interest is clearly better, the story backtracks because they can't break the OG ship. It's frustrating. Let characters grow up. Let them move on. So yeah, this trope isn't romantic. It's emotional junk food. And honestly, we're full. Let's see what else you guys are tired of. Okay, this next comment nails something deeper than just a trope. It's a whole character design problem, the miserable character archetype. You mentioned Squidward, and yeah, that's the perfect example. This is that one character who exists just to be miserable. They're cynical, constantly annoyed, and always down bad, emotionally, financially, or both. Their entire purpose is to contrast how happy and chaotic the main characters are. And no matter what they do, they never win. If they try to chase a dream, it fails. If they look for peace, it gets ruined. Their suffering is the joke. I hate this trope because it's lazy. The character isn't written like a person. They're a permanent mood. They exist just to make others look funnier. There's no real growth. It's frustrating because it ruins the stakes. Once you realize this character can never win, you stop caring. Why root for someone when the writers already decided their life's a joke? Imagine if every time SpongeBob grew as a person, the show hit a reset button. That's what happens here, but for misery. Let's start with the king of misery, Squidward Tentacles from SpongeBob SquarePants. All the man wants is peace and quiet, maybe to play his clarinet without SpongeBob bursting through his wall. But no, his house gets destroyed every week, his art dreams are laughed at, and his job is soul-crushing. It's like the ocean personally hates him. Then there's Meg Griffin from Family Guy. Her whole personality is being the punchline. Her family constantly insults her, the world ignores her, and it's supposed to be funny. But after a while, it's just depressing. She doesn't even get character development, just emotional abuse for laughs. And of course, Benson from Regular Show. My guy is trying so hard to be a responsible adult. He's got rent, bills, and 2 employees who treat his park like a playground. Every episode, he starts calm and ends screaming in rage. He's relatable, sure, but he's also stuck in a permanent loop of stress and despair. What makes this trope annoying isn't just that they're sad. It's that the story refuses to let them be anything else. We never get to see their side, or even a moment of of peace that last more than 10 seconds. It's like the writers are scared to let them grow because the show might lose its easy source of misery-based comedy. And the crazy thing? These characters are usually the most relatable ones. Squidward hates his job. Benson's overworked. Meg just wants respect. They're all realistic. But instead of treating them like people, the show turns them into stress toys. So yeah, the miserable character trope isn't just sad. It's unfair. Give Squidward a standing ovation for once. Let Benson actually enjoy his park for a day. Let Meg win something. Anything. But until that happens, these characters are stuck being the eternal butt of the joke. And honestly, I'm starting to feel miserable just thinking about it. Anyway, that's another one off the list. What other tropes do you guys hate? Drop them below. I'm making this a series and the next round might feature your comment. Next up, we've got the comment that proves we cartoon fans notice everything. This one's about the visual chaos known as the arbitrary animal design trope. This happens when a cartoon world is supposedly full of one kind of animal, but every character looks like they came from a different species entirely. The rule seems to be, take a basic human body, add random animal ears, call it a day. And the main character? They get a completely different animal design just to make them stand out. The result? A lineup that looks like a bunch of half-finished fursuit commissions. The worst part is when a character is supposed to be an animal, but the design is so plain, they might as well be a talking loaf of bread. It's like the animators got halfway through the concept and said, no one will notice. Oh, but we noticed. It's not just about looks. It messes with how the world feels. Like, if Arthur is an aardvark and Buster's a rabbit, why do they both look like they shop at the same mall and have the same hands? Where's the animal part of Animal World? It's lazy world building. Either go full animal, like Zootopia, or just make them humans and call it a day. Don't live in that beige middle ground where nobody knows what anyone is. It kills immersion. When every character looks like a random human with costume accessories, it feels like the species thing is just a branding choice. Like, they didn't choose animals for the story, they just thought it'd look cuter on lunchboxes. Let's start with the obvious one, Arthur. He's an aardvark, supposedly, but the dude looks like a peanut with glasses. Buster's a rabbit, Francine's a monkey, the whole town's a genetic fever dream in khaki pants. Then you've got the biggest offender of all time, Mickey Mouse's world. You've got Goofy, who's a dog, hanging out with Pluto, who's also a dog. But Pluto walks on all fours and Goofy drives a car. Like, what are the rules here? Is Pluto just not unionized? And then there's BoJack Horseman, which actually uses this trope on purpose. It takes the weirdness and runs with it. BoJack's a horse, Mr. Peanut Butter's a dog, Princess Carolyn's a cat, all living normal human lives. The joke is how ridiculous it is. It's the adult version of the Arthur problem, except this time, the writers are in on it. So yeah, the arbitrary animal design trope isn't just bad design. It's the ultimate we gave up move. Either commit to the bit or stop pretending. Give the animals actual traits, or just admit everyone's a beige blob in a zoo of confusion. Because right now, it feels less like character design and more like a random animal generator. But hey, if Arthur's an aardvark, then I'm a dolphin. Let's move on before my brain starts asking more questions. Alright, this one's legendary. The Scooby-Doo doors chase. The moment you see a long hallway with random doors on both sides, you just know somebody's about to lose their mind. You've got Scooby and Shaggy running for their lives, the monster on their tail, and somehow everyone's entering and exiting different doors like they're teleporting through the multiverse of madness. So, the Scooby-Doo doors trope is basically when a chase scene turns into a doorway obstacle course. The characters run in one door, pop out another, maybe even the same door again, and at some point they'll run side by side with the monster like it's totally normal. Logic? Gone. Physics? Gone. But comedy? 100% there. I've got two minds about this trope. On one hand, it's pure nostalgia. Like, if you grew up on Saturday morning cartoons, this scene is your childhood. But on the other hand, it's also the most obvious sign of a show stretching its budget. Hanna-Barbera basically invented the art of reusing backgrounds. Instead of animating new sets or camera angles, they just looped the same hallway and had characters run in circles. It was cheap, it was fast, and somehow, it became iconic. But when modern shows do it, that's when it starts to to feel off. Like, if you've got Pixar-level money and you're still doing the same hallway gag, it better be for a good reason. Otherwise, it just feels lazy. The best version of this trope is when a show knows it's dumb and leans into it, turns it into a joke instead of filler. Obviously, Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Owns this trope. Every time they pulled it off, they'd play a new song, throw in some goofy dance moves, and somehow make the same gag work over and over. It's like comfort food. You know what's coming, but you still enjoy it. Then there's Monsters, Inc., which actually revolutionized the whole thing. They took the door chase and made it this giant, fast-paced 3D roller coaster through a factory full of portals. That's the right way to evolve a trope. Keep the spirit, but crank the creativity. So yeah, the Scooby-Doo doors chase is equal parts nostalgia and nonsense. It's the ultimate sign of classic animation doing the most with the least. It doesn't make sense, it doesn't need to, and that's kind of the point. We've all seen it 1,000 times, and deep down, we'd still watch it again if they played that goofy chase song one more time. Alright, this one is everywhere, and it's kind of wild how we all just accepted it as normal for so long. You called out the classic slob husband / hot wife dynamic, the ultimate cartoon mismatch, or as I like to call it, she's out of his league, the animated series. This is the setup where a lazy, goofy, or just straight up sloppy guy somehow ends up married to an unbelievably gorgeous, patient, and supportive woman. He's allowed to be a total disaster, while she's drawn like she just walked out of a commercial. You never see it flipped. There's never the messy mom with the fit, well-dressed husband who worships her. Nope, it's always the dude who looks like he lost a fight with a donut. I hate this trope because it's not just lazy, it's straight up wish fulfillment. The writers basically go, we need a relatable everyman, so let's make him a lovable idiot, and we'll give him the dream wife as his reward. It's a visual cheat code that says, don't worry guys, you don't have to grow or change. Love will just happen to you. Like, bro, maybe try picking up your socks first. But the bigger issue is what it teaches. It quietly tells audiences, especially kids, that it's okay for men to be flawed or messy, but women have to be perfect no matter what. The husband gets jokes and sympathy, while the wife gets stress and responsibility. It's the ultimate double standard. One side gets character depth, the other side gets a beauty standard. And when shows lean on that too much, it stops feeling like comedy and starts feeling like propaganda for low effort. We all deserve better representation than the exhausted wife and the man-child husband. This trope is so common, it's practically a cartoon law. Homer and Marge Simpson, the blueprint for the whole thing. Homer's clumsy, lazy, and often causes chaos, while Marge is calm, caring, and somehow still in love with him after decades of nonsense.
Take care of yourself!
Marge, there's a spider near my car keys.
Fred and Wilma Flintstone. This one set the stage. Fred's loud, rude, and reckless. Wilma's polished, witty, and gorgeous. It's prehistoric sexism with a laugh track. So yeah, the slob husband hot wife trope isn't just tired, it's a full-blown lie. It rewards mediocrity and punishes effort. If cartoons really wanted to evolve, we'd see both partners being goofy, both being flawed, and both actually respecting each other. Until then, I'm officially done watching hot cartoon moms babysit their grown husbands. Okay, this next one is a social disaster wrapped in a cartoon. You guys called out the toxic best friends trope. Basically, when two characters clearly can't stand each other, but the show keeps pretending they're soulmates. It's that friendship where the only thing holding them together is the plot. This trope is what happens when writers confuse banter with bullying. These so-called best friends insult each other every episode, sabotage each other's lives, and never actually grow as people. You start to wonder if they're friends or just long-term hostages. I hate this trope because it's lazy and weirdly harmful. It gives writers an easy way out of building real relationships. Just make the characters mean and call it comedy. But worse, it can mess with how kids think friendship works. It tells you that if someone constantly hurts your feelings or disrespects you, that's just how friends show love. No, it's not. That's how villains show tolerance. Good cartoon friendships aren't perfect. They fight, they screw up, but they grow. The toxic best friends trope skips all that and just loops the yelling forever. It's lazy writing that avoids showing what healthy friendship actually looks like. Communication, forgiveness, growth. You know, basic human stuff. You can find this dynamic everywhere, especially in comedy shows where the humor leans on conflict. Peter and Quagmire, Family Guy. Peter's selfishness and constant idiocy push Quagmire past his limits. Sure, they hang out, but half the time, Quagmire looks like he's one bad joke away from quitting life. That's not friendship, that's emotional endurance training. SpongeBob and Squidward. SpongeBob SquarePants. SpongeBob sees Squidward as his bestie, but Squidward sees him as an uninvited nightmare. It's funny, sure, but if you really think about it, Squidward's living in a daily torture chamber. The show works because of the comedy, but the friendship part, yeah, that's one-sided at best. Even Tom and Jerry kind of toy with this idea, mortal enemies who occasionally show kindness. Except in their case, the hate is the joke. The problem is when modern shows try to sell that same toxic chaos as real friendship. So yeah, the toxic best friends trope needs to go. Real friendship isn't constant pain or endless insults. It's supposed to make you better, not break your spirit. If your bestie treats you like this, it's not quirky, it's a red flag. And if a show keeps doing it, maybe they just don't know how to write actual love between friends. Ah yes, the Kids to Adult episode, also known as the Growing Up is a Scam special. You've seen this one 1,000 times. The kids get tired of rules, homework, or being short, so they make a wish, build a device, or get hit by some random magic that turns them into adults overnight. At first, they're living the dream, staying up late, eating junk food, no bedtime, but 5 minutes later, they're paying bills, working terrible jobs, and realizing adulthood is basically one long group project that never ends. This is the cartoon world's favorite morality play. The story goes, kids think adulthood equals freedom, but it's actually stress, debt, and disappointment. So by the end, they're begging some fairy, genie, or time machine to make them children again. The moral is always the same. Being a kid is better. Enjoy it while it lasts. And while that's fine once or twice, some shows act like adulthood is this post-apocalyptic wasteland where dreams go to die. Now don't get me wrong, the lesson of appreciate your childhood isn't bad. But this trope always takes it too far. It skips over the actually cool parts of growing up, like having freedom, making your own choices, or building your own life, and just focuses on the worst bits like taxes, bad jobs, and coffee addiction. It's like the writers looked at being an adult and said, nope, nothing good here, let's just traumatize the kids a little. It's such a lazy way to teach responsibility. Instead of showing growth or learning through experience, they just do a quick magical shortcut where the kids instantly become adults, freak out, and undo everything. No real lesson, just one big middle finger to growing up. You can find this trope everywhere. This trope is so common because it's safe. It lets writers talk about growing up without actually changing the characters. They get to explore adulthood for one episode and then hit the reset button. It's basically a sandbox for fake character growth. Nothing sticks, nothing evolves, and the characters stay young forever so the show can stay marketable. It's weirdly cynical when you think about it. Like, these are kids' shows, and they're telling kids, enjoy life now, because once you hit 18, everything's over. Gee, thanks for the hope, Nickelodeon. So yeah, the Wistful Adulthood episode isn't a meaningful lesson. It's a magical guilt trip. Instead of saying, growing up is hard but worth it, it says, never grow up. It's a trap. And I don't know about you, but I'd rather deal with rent than have my bedtime decided by someone else. At least grown-ups get pizza for dinner whenever they want. And that's it. The tropes you guys absolutely dragged in the comments. Honestly, I couldn't agree more. It's crazy how these cliches keep showing up in new cartoons like no one's learned anything. But now I want to hear from you again. What trope do you think still needs to be exposed next? Drop it below because I'm already collecting comments for part 3. And hey, if you enjoyed this little cartoon therapy session, hit that like button, subscribe to Animated Memories, and turn on notifications so you don't miss when your comment shows up in the next one. Thanks for watching. And remember, not every trope is bad. But the lazy ones, they gotta go.